I got into farming when I was 21, and I was pretty desperate to get a sense of where food actually came from. And I had just always known that I wanted to end up on a farm. I don't know what experience it was as a child. Well, I'm sure hunger contributed to it. It's unfortunate that so many lower income people are locked out of decent food. And I know somewhere in the back of my mind that was always gnawing at me. I had some like minor health issues growing up. I had asthma when I was in high school, and I think a lot of it was because I wasn't spending enough time outside and getting enough like proper exercise and sunshine. And I think it was a dietary thing too. And so I finally got enough resources together to move to a farm when I was 21, and I noticed I didn't have any asthma symptoms as soon as I made the transition. It was Hawaii and the air was very clean, but I think it was more so just the just taking on a lot of daily physical work and being able to know where all my food was coming from. I think we'll end up putting beets in here. This looks like good beet territory. It's nice and fluffy, and I'll be able to get it into a pretty tall mound. So beets really like that. They like to be able to go down into soft ground. In the few times where I've had to rely on paying for food in the last several years, I realized very quickly that I couldn't really afford to eat the way I wanted to, as far as like having to go through middlemen. And I also got very spoiled as far as the quality of my food is concerned. And a lot of that has to do with how fresh it is and how it's harvested. And being intimately involved with that process is pretty addicting. So I guess I'm in it for the long haul. I feel like hunger is actually a very good motivator, just like any other painful experience. Like it forces you to work your way out of whatever situation you're in. And I just felt like the most straightforward way to do that would just to be learning how to produce food independently. I wouldn't say hunger was a problem specifically for me. I know there was plenty of people that were getting it much worse than I was, but I think it was like the quality of the food I was eating, and I've always tended to quality over quantity, and stuffing yourself with grain isn't necessarily going to bring about health and well-being. You might feel full, but you don't feel quite there up to par, and I experienced that a lot growing up. And it was hard for me to pinpoint exactly what was making me feel less than what I was capable of. And I think it's empowering, well, certainly to be producing food, but even as a consumer, it's very empowering to begin to research and try to find out where your food is coming from, because then you can make more informed choices, and you can be voting with your consumer dollars for projects and people that you feel are going to be of a benefit to your community, or even if it's you're getting coffee from a farm 1,000 miles away, if they're doing things in a very just and sustainable way, then it's certainly worth supporting. I would sleep in here, but it loses all the heat at night. It doesn't really hold on to it at all.
Yeah.
Welcome to the greenhouse. Bunch of beets, and I feel like food production is like the most, or food in general is the most basic starting point for any kind of discussion on equality and fair access, because people need access to it 3 to 5 times a day, it's not like something a little bit more esoteric like higher education or hedge fund management or something. It's what people need to exist. I really find it very refreshing how relatively simple the act of producing food is. I mean, certainly having mentors and people who have been doing it for a long time is very invaluable, because then you don't make mistakes that they've already made, and you can build on their successes and try to branch out more from them.
I think the most efficacious plan would be to hook up the fish, the pump with the air stone for the fish tank, and then put it in the 50-gallon drum. The 50-gallon drum will be boosted up on something so it can gravity feed in the greenhouse, and then and weight down the air stone to the bottom of the tank so it goes up, and then get like maybe a small basketball size amount of compost, put it in a piece of sturdy remed.
What do I think about my future in farming? Well, I don't really have any other plans for myself. I think that I'm very excited at how open-ended it is, and also the fact that it's somewhat chic right now doesn't hurt, but when I got into it, it was definitely not the average 20-something's first choice for a career. But I'm really seeing signs of that changing, and that's very exhilarating, because whenever I meet people younger than me that want to get involved, it's very motivating. It's more motivating than if I was operating on a salary, which is good, because I don't really see that coming in my future anytime soon. I've always arranged my life to where I can get what I need without having to do stuff that I don't want to do, quite frankly. I haven't had to drag myself into work for 8 years, and I have never been watching the clock. In general, I don't begrudge my workday at all, ever. And I mean, it can be hard and it can be physically painful, but it just makes so much sense to me that I never regret doing it. And being involved with food production, or even just supporting it, is just very beneficial for communities and for the health of everyone involved, really.